Hello there YouTube, what is up? Today I'm bringing you the second draft analysis on the channel this weekend alone. It is Monday, but it's close enough to the weekend, right? Today's video is going to be my BBL Season 7 draft analysis. Yesterday was my UPA Season 2 one. I highly recommend you go check that video out if you didn't. It's going to be a cool run. We have a pretty decent team, and I am the current defending champion in that league, so that is a nice extra storyline to add on top of that. So I highly recommend it, and that I might reference that a little bit in this video just because these drafts happened at the same time. But this is BBL Season 7. BBL stands for Bandless Battlers League, and it's an 8-week season, so it's not that long, which is kind of nice actually. I have been watching this league for quite a bit. It's been around for a little bit. I watched like Season 3, 4-ish range. I'm pretty sure Season 5 was Gypsy King's like long reign or something like that. But I watched that run and it was pretty fun to watch. Bandlist, it stands for, it kind of implies that we're doing something else. It's not standard. We're doing Ubers League. I've only done one Ubers League in the past, and that was APM's Ubers. Very fun league. I stopped uploading it because of huge burnout, but we did lose in semifinals in that because Austrian George is an amazing battler, and he is just godsend, man. He's good. So we did lose to that. No shame in that. But my plan did get turned around quite a bit in this draft, as I will explain soon. As you can tell by the thumbnail, the first Mon we have, our Uber, the big, clickbait Mon, right? Wasn't expecting to get this Mon, as I'll talk about in a little bit, but I did have an original draft plan not around that Mon. That would have been pretty nice, but again, we switched gears, and it made this draft a lot more interesting than I thought it was going to be in terms of drafting. Finally, before I get into this, A, I talk fast, so if you're new here, just get used to that. And B, I'm going to do this a little bit differently. I tried something different in my UPA recording, and it didn't really pan out. So for this one, as an excuse to use the awesome graphics in this league still, I'm going to do a quick rundown of all my picks within the span of like 3 minutes, and then I'm going to talk about the team as a whole and how they synergize afterwards. That's going to be the plan. Got it? Alright, let's get this started. I've recorded this enough times to where I'm kind of sick of it. I'll try and make this fast. Let's talk about the insane busted Uber on the thumbnail and is on our team, Lunala. We have Lunala as our Uber for this season of the BBL. Very insane Pokemon, even in Ubers. There's no Yveltal on the draft board, so that is one big threat that I don't have to prep for at all. That, against Lunala, of course. 97 speed is very good to build around. I have better multi-scales and ability. I can talk all day about how insane this is, but we're going to leave it at that. Tapu Koko is next. It pairs with Lunala from an offensive standpoint. 130 speed tier, so 130 and 97. Very easy to build around. I don't have to worry about filling that later. It's a very good electric type. It is a fairy type, and it has good utility moves to where I can kind of skew movesets depending on the matchup. Third Pokemon is Manabuzz. I wanted a defensive dark to pair with Lunala because of the ghost and dark weakness. Manabuzz gives me that. It is a very bulky Pokemon and is my main, quote, wall on the team. Good utility moves like Koko, though it has the bulk to support it. I wish it was a little bit less passive, but I think it's something we're going to be just fine with, honestly. It's a good knockoff user because my next Mon, Mamoswine, also has knockoff. It is Ice and Ground, insane offensive typing. Stealth Rocks, good priority in Ice Shard, and actual base 80 speed because Manabuzz isn't really that, which is nice with the speed tiers I got going on so far. And very hard Pokemon to switch into. Melmetal is next, is our Steel type on the team. Pure Steel, insane all around because its stats are just kind of broken. Double Iron Bash plus Iron Fist also hits insanely hard. Pure Steel is pretty nice, again I mentioned, good defensive typing. This thing can live super effective hits on the defensive side just because of its bulk, so very awesome. I wish I had Stealth Rocks, but it's okay. Our next pick, Seismitoad, does have that. It's our bulky water. I kind of wish it resisted ice, but it's not really the biggest deal. I chose this over like Swampert or something because of water absorb. I wanted a water resistance or immunity. Gives me that. Another knockoff user, and I can, just like Koko, I can skew a moveset to how I please because of Toad's insane move pool. Seventh Pokemon is Weezing. Weezing's pretty nice on this team because I wanted a poison, and it's not necessarily grounded because of my kind of glaring ground weakness, and I can choose to have Levitate if I want to have, be immune to ground, or I could be a T-Spike Absorber and have neutralizing gas, which is also a great ability. I get very annoying utility moves like Haze, Pain Split, I get T-Spikes, and a few other things as well. I don't see this coming every week, but it will have a matchup or two where I think it will shine. Next is Hawlucha. If you guys don't know me, you guys know how much I don't like this mon. I think it's pretty bad. But I have Tapu Koko on this team. A fighting type would be really nice, and it was just sitting there. Also, I think Hawlucha, just like one of the first drafts where Hawlucha wasn't overpriced, thank God. So it was kind of actually worth drafting. I wanted Keldeo, but, you know, freaking Incog over here with 3 fighting types already. He's got picked up Keldeo the round before. It happens, but again, Hawlucha is not bad on this team, and it could be a very deadly late game cleaner. Drampa was our next pick. I picked up Drampa for a very particular reason, and I'm happy about it. It's normal and dragon, so it filled those 2 types, and is a good ghost answer in complements to Mandibuzz because Drampa, the ghost typing, often has a secondary typing that is resisted by dragon. So like there are a lot of grass ghosts running around. Fire Ghost, Chandelure, and a Blacephalon. Drampa can just deal with those mons, and it makes Lunala, you know, one less thing Lunala has to worry about if Drampa's got a good matchup. Rotomo is our next pick. 2 picks left. Rotomo is this one. I don't like it on this team, to be honest. I wanted a grass type, and I just felt like I needed it, so there was no other good grass types on the board, so I decided to pick this up. Whimsicott would have been nice here, but I waited way too long for that, to be honest. It gives me another good answer to Bulky Waters, because at this point I don't have great answers, outside of Coco, of course, so Rotomo gives me that. Finally, we got a low tier, a budget pick in Reboot here. Reboot, this slide looks very sick. It's 4 points, it's budget Cinderace, because I do get Libero as an ability. 94 speed is pretty good, and it gets most of the coverage moves that Cinderace gets except for Pyro Ball. I get Flare Blitz though, so it's still fine anyway. A little bit less attack, but you know, for 4 points, I think this was totally worth the pick, to be honest. And I love me my fire types, so I wanted to squeeze it in here somewhere. That is the draft we have. That is the rundown of the mons themselves. I can now kind of talk about how they synergize together. So yes, if you were here just to see what I had drafted, there you go. But now I can kind of talk about how this team synergizes a little bit more and, you know, some extra notes. Before I talk about that, though, I do want to talk about my original plan. I had 2 ideas going into this draft. I get a top 3 pick, or I don't get a top 3 pick. If I got a top 3 pick, I was always looking at Lunala because it was something I really wanted to use, and I felt like I could realistically get it in a top 3 scenario. I got 10th in the draft, so I kind of scratched Lunala out of my mind, and I wanted to get Zamazenta, the normal Zamazenta. I had a great defensive core built around it and some good offensive mons to patch its weaknesses, and it was a pretty nice plan. Well, as you see, I have a Lunala on my team. It got down the 10th pick somehow. It was like the only like high tier Uber left on the board, so you know we took it. You know we take those, right? And I had to scratch the Zamazenta plan and just kind of build quickly around Lunala. It didn't have too much going into it. And, you know, with that information, I'm actually really happy with how this turned out. The whole plan I had, you know, forming in my mind after I picked up Lunala was that I'm going to build a team that makes it to where Lunala is the only mon weak to Ghost and Dark. That is because that forces my opponent to bring Ghost and Dark coverage to a team that isn't really weak to it. Granted, Lunala is my Uber, and in a format like this, bringing coverage for your opponent Uber is very justifiable, so I do expect to be seeing Ghost and Dark coverage against my team, because, you know, Lunala's a threat, of course. And that's why I'm a big fan of the Mandibuzz pick on this team. It really helps out with the Ghost and Dark weakness that my Lunala has, and it is just a good wall in general for this team. Another really big pick I was happy with was the Melmetal one. That's because there's a lot of flying type Ubers and a lot of dragon type Ubers. And Melmetal, because it's pure steel and not like not like Ferrothorn, it resists both flying and dragon, and it gives me a nice soft check to most of those Ubers. Now I do understand that most Ubers get really good coverage that Melmetal does not like, but at least the initial switch in, the initial check is really good on my team, and it gives me time to sort of plan out how I want to, you know, plan my team depending on the matchup, of course. That was why I was a really big fan of the Melmetal Mandibuzz core I got going on, and then I just complemented it with some insane offensive typings and offensive mons. Otherwise, the rest of this team is pretty nice. I think the speed tiers are pretty good. I kind of wish I had a better Mon in between Coco and Lunala than just Hawlucha. I already told you my thoughts on Hawlucha, but it's at 118 in quotes because of Unburden. Otherwise, I think they're good. Enough pivoting on this team to where it's not like a problem or anything. And I think it's a really good mix of breakers, cleaners, and utility. Lots of defog, lots of knockoff on this team, T-spikes, and a whole bunch of other things too. So I'm very happy with this team. I think the one thing I could probably change is Rotom Mo. I wasn't a big fan of it on here, though it's not the worst thing in the entire world. But all in all, a very good team. Hopefully I'm competent enough to use it, and I think we're going to have a good season. Otherwise, that's going to wrap it up for this video. I think in compared to my UPA draft, I think I like this one a little bit more. I do think I'm going to like that season a little bit more just for different reasons. This is an 8-week schedule, which is nice and not nice. It's nice because it's shorter. It's not nice because there's a lot of coaches that I really wanted to face that aren't on my schedule. I dodged Q for the 18th millionth time. I don't face him. I don't face Jack. I would have loved to get a rematch against Incog and Sir Jorge. I don't face any of them, so a little bit of a Debbie Downer, but hopefully we can still make the best out of our schedule. So that's going to wrap it up. Again, I like this team. Let me know what you guys think about the team in the comment section below. And without further ado, that's going to wrap it up. I'll see you next Monday for week 1 of BBL.